What is up, everybody? MuseMe TV. We are back. Episode 143. What's up, everybody? How is it going? And we got in the studio Danger. What is up, Danger? Danger K Varoz in the studio, everybody.
You know what's up. You know what's up.
You guys are awesome. What is up, man? Thank you for joining.
Hi.
Thank you for coming, man. I know you've probably seen me always posting. I was like, hey, podcast, did a podcast with one episode, 130, 140. And I was like, Danger's not in that number yet. He's not in there. All the local comedians have been, but Danger's not in there yet.
Well, I'm glad to be here, man. It's very sweet of you to have me on the little podcast with you got your tablecloth and you got some production value in here.
Right, in the closet.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Little box lights.
Yeah, it's just, one of those wannabe things, man. I wanted to start a podcast. It was fun, and now it's just grown into this exponential thing, what you see now. It just was a little thing where I was just hanging out with my friends, doing a talk, and then now I interview comedians and anybody that wants to be on my show.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, because I didn't start the podcast. I started the podcast before I started comedy. So I had this podcast for a few years before I started comedy.
You were already interviewing comedians before
No.
you did? Okay.
When I got into the comedy scene, then that's when I started to interview comedians. Most of the people that I interviewed were people that I met at Comic-Con and stuff. So cosplayers, burlesque dancers, some artists. That was my scene, besides the music, as you saw in the room over there, a big musician as well. So I started interviewing a lot of those people. And then once I got into the comedy scene, I met a bunch of you guys.
Now, was this your music we were listening to just now?
Yeah. That was a track that I did with my band 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
That's fucking heavy, dude.
It's called, the band was called Causes to Become.
That is fucking heavy.
Melodic death metal.
Well done.
Thank you. We went to a studio in Farmington and everything. We're like, yeah, we get to finally record 2 demos.
It
So
sounded really good.
you did nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's dope. I had a podcast a few years ago with a couple of goofy dudes. A wannabe movie producer who turned out to be a creepy con man. And then it's like, I think he was an ex-firefighter, ex-Marine. He was a pal of his.
Okay.
And it's called The Focus Podcast. And I would play little beats, little smooth beats that I would make. And then like on like the 4th or 5th episode, they had like we had a meeting and they were like, can we figure out some different music? And then
Oh, jeez. And it was just like background music, like ominous background music.
A little smooth, little Delilah 0.5.
While you guys were chatting and stuff.
No, just the intro.
That was it.
Just like yours.
Oh, okay.
Just like
I
yours.
thought you just had that going on through the whole podcast.
No.
And they just got a little annoyed. They're just like, hey, man, we need to talk about that music that goes on for 2 hours.
Actually, I put on a couple of comedy shows that were called Comedy Slow Jams.
Okay.
And it was basically just like my band playing smooth music the whole time that comedians were on stage doing their bit.
Oh, geez.
And most of them kind of like got on to the, were like, oh yeah, did their whole,
They're feeling
bit
it.
like that. And it was really funny. And some of them would just like, bulldoze through and just do their regular bit like right through.
I just need to get this done.
Yeah. Remember Zach was really good at it, and Rusty and Royal. Yeah.
And this was how long ago?
We did it a couple times over the years. First time was at Open Source Comedy, that old comedy club that I did that was like a front.
I'm too new.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I was there for the fall of Boise's, and that was it.
Yeah. Anyway, I used to play rock and roll music too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used to play in a hardcore band. We thought our genre was desert thrash. That's what we thought we were doing.
Whoa,
And
interesting.
I had really long hair, and I wore this poncho everywhere I went, and these ripped up jeans, and we would hang out under the bridge and drink whiskey and like spray paint and be shitbags and be like, oh, the system.
I'm trying to think of what desert thrash would sound like, though.
It was
Like
basically like
Metallica, but with a little Spanish mixed in.
it sounded the band that I heard that sounded kind of similar to us was the Helicopters. I don't know if you ever heard them. But it was kind of like doo-woppy oldie
but still
music, but
heavy.
super hardcore.
You
and
hear
I'd
those
scream my
riffs.
ass off and-
Yeah.
yeah. So it was in the spirit of the but it would be like,
There you go, right?
Yeah, we just played beach music, like sped up really fast, and then we just got really hardcore.
Dope.
And we were called the Dirty Fucking Rondas Incorporated.
The Dirty Fucking Ronda Incorporated.
Yeah.
Inc.
And have you ever seen the logo for our TV show, The New Mexican Inquisition?
No, I don't think so.
It's kind of like it's a Zia with a laughing face in it. And it's like a crying laugh face in a Zia.
I'll probably find it.
That symbol for the Mexican Inquisition was basically just a repurposed logo from my old band from my early 20s. Also a Zia with a face on it, but the face was spray painted on it. It was like an X with a half watermelon shape for a mouth, and then the paint was dripping, and then the head was on fire.
Oh God!
And that was our T-shirt.
I should have not looked up New Mexico Inquisition because it just shows all the bad, horrific stuff that the conquistadors did to people.
Oh right. The Spanish Inquisition, yeah, that was not good.
New Mexico Inquisition logo,
the
and then
Mexican Inquisition.
This is all that comes
up. Oh my God.
I was like, this is it. No,
hey, try NMINQ logo.
NMINQ logo.
Mm-hmm.
NMINQ logo. NMINQ. Sorry, I have dyslexia. I gotta remember that.
So yeah,
this is what I got.
Oh my God, look at this. We're not even. Oh man, we're just so not famous. It's not even funny. All right, try this. Just NMINQ. That's it.
INQ.
I think logo's fucking us up here. There we go. There's the logo.
Yeah, it was on the other one.
Yeah.
It was on the New Mexico Inquisition where we were seeing all those horrific things. Your logo was right here.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that's the logo that was repurposed from my old punk band.
I remember you said you were because this was like a public access thing, right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't hear much about it.
Most of our viewers are on Facebook, but it was like a niche audience.
Okay.
Because we were doing like late night style comedy show, but we were having political guests, and we had Michelle Lujan Grisham and Tim Keller and all these like public figures, but the studio got shut down and the show ended. They're trying to bring it back at a different studio, but now I'm going back to school full time, so I don't know if I have time to
the busyness
produce a TV show again.
Oh man, yeah, I could imagine, especially with like what was going on at that time. That kind of you're just really into like producing some stuff, getting some stuff out there. Like,
well, I mean,
word of mouth. Got hired on by another friend. And
how did it get started? Is that what you're asking?
Kind of.
We produced. Okay, so it goes back to open source comedy again. So open source comedy was a comedy club that Jason Green and I opened up, and it was on 3rd and Gold downtown, and it was basically like a way to like set up a comedy club that could have alcohol by being a private club that we relied on word of mouth. And we ended up shutting down because it just didn't work.
No.
And there's also all kinds of other reasons that I wouldn't want to say on the air what was going on there, but
it's okay.
But we shot the first episode in open source comedy with like a green screen and a little studio audience, and Jason held up little cue cards, and we just shot the first episode, and it was like The Daily Show. We had little field pieces,
okay,
with fake correspondents running around doing stuff, and then a big meaty field piece about an actual public issue in Albuquerque, and then a bunch of little jokes with little graphics over the shoulders.
Oh, okay.
And after we put the first episode on Facebook, this dude at the studio here was like, "Hey, come shoot that over here, and it'll be awesome." And I was like, "Oh yeah!" And then we did, and we shot almost 50 episodes there.
Dope.
If not 50 episodes for like 2.5 years.
And there was just like better experience, cooler equipment, stuff like that.
Yeah. And the format of the show kind of changed over the years. It changed from a daily show format with correspondence and over-the-shoulder graphics to like a Bill Maher format with like a panel of guests.
Okay.
And then finally it turned to just late night with a couch and
the
desk.
guests. Yeah.
Desk and a couch thing. And
was that just because of trying different formats, or were you just trying to find your guys' niche?
Yeah, we were trying to find something that worked really well with I don't know. Also, it wasn't even necessarily trying, like, there was a problem we were fixing. It was just restlessness. Like, I wonder what this would be like. I wonder what this would be like.
Okay.
I wonder what this would be like, you know, because it didn't matter, you know.
Yeah, you're just trying to. If it hit, then that would stay. If it didn't, then try on to the next one.
Our fans were in the thousands. It's not like we're talking about millions here. It didn't matter. And we got all kinds of really great hate mail all the time from so many, you're fucking bullshit, you know, because it was a political show, so of course it's going to piss people off.
That's awesome.
You know, someone might be attracted to us because we hammered on some issue and then come back and watch the next episode and be like, what the hell? This is a liberal rag. And be like, let them have it. But we ended up having a feud on Facebook with Jeff Apodaca, the guy who was running for governor with Michelle Lujan Grisham.
Okay.
He came on the show, and he was like, we had a great episode, like, on the air, if you watch the episode, and all the episodes are on nminq.com, like New Mexican Inquisition. They're all there. I'm just going to leave them up forever.
You should throw them on YouTube, too, man.
Well, they're there, too.
Oh, okay, they're there as well.
The website just links.
Oh, okay, yeah. Don't waste your time. Go to YouTube.
Yeah, just go to YouTube. NMIQ. So he came on the show, and it was a great episode. And we had lots of laughs, and we, you know, the panel. It was during the Bill Maher panel format, and we like grilled him and had a great time, and he laughed. But before we rolled and after, in between takes, he said some really fucked up shit to people and to me, like about. He whispered something to me about how he and his big studio friends could help us out with all this stuff, and all I had to do is like, it was like weird, and he was just like, what do you think is going to happen here? I'm going to like endorse you on the show because off camera you made some empty promise about how you could get us on a real, you know, station because you have connections. It's like, I know this show isn't good enough for what you're bullshitting me about.
But still, that like anticipation to try to be like, hey, they'll talk better about me. They'll make it seem like I'm a good person.
Yeah. And he pointed out to me when he got there that he was wearing a three-piece suit. He worked it into the conversation somehow right away. He was just like, you know, in this three-piece suit. I don't know if you noticed I have a three-piece suit. And then I overheard him like do that line again, like throughout the evening to other people. And I was like, oh man, I just don't like this guy.
This guy's already have a fucking agenda.
But we had a good show, and I didn't disparage him in any way. But when I got home, I got on Facebook, which is where I always get in trouble. And I was just like, hey, this guy kind of sucks.
He's a freedom warrior right there.
And someone out there showed him that, you know, and so he got in a fight with one of our producers on the show at like 3 a.m. and just let her have it with these walls of text on public walls, not even in private chat, but it was nuts. And like,
that's hilarious. And did that kind of work against him?
Probably in a tiny little bit, but absolutely, he looks like an asshole.
Okay, yeah.
And Michelle Lujan Grisham came on the show, and she was a darling, and she entertained the audience, and she knew just how to hold a room, and had all these great stories and jokes, and just was an amazing guest. And the episode was hilarious, and she packed the room with people who all laughed at all of her jokes. And, you know,
it's a way more better experience. Just like, what the hell, man. You can kind of tell too. Is like I mean, I don't know about the realm of the politician and stuff, but I mean it's all cutthroat at that point where it's just like, maybe if I can convince these people in a sense to make me look better, then I got my in with this group wherever their wide span of audience is going to be. So I mean, as a politician, I totally can see that where they play one role.
She's got what they're looking for, because when you meet her, you're just like, oh, she seems really genuine and cool, and she likes me. And then she walks away, and you're like, damn, you got me.
Yeah.
Like, did she get me? Yeah. Was that real? Oh my god.
Compared to the other guy where he's just like totally fakes the persona until cameras are off, and then he's just the whole like, blah, I'm a douche.
Tim Keller is like a little too nice, and you're like,
what's up with that? I don't like how metalhead he is. It's a little suspicious.
When we had him on the show, we called him on that.
Okay.
And we had this really hilarious moment when we had Jason Green interview him.
Okay.
And we set him up with this question at the end of this 15-minute interview, and we were just like, okay, before you go, people are always talking about how you're a metalhead, and you know, so we're just gonna, here's a quick little quiz, you know, just gonna get you. And he was like, all right, here we go, okay, here we go. And we already knew one of his favorites was Sepultura, and so we just gave him lines for Roots.
Okay.
Like basically the second half of the first verse, leading up to Roots.
Bloody Roots. Yeah.
Bloody Roots. And so all the answer to the question was Roots, Bloody Roots. And so Jason just read the lyrics, you know, take you to a place where we can find our... And Tim Keller was like, and he didn't know it.
Oh,
He said it was
geez.
one of his favorite bands.
So you just put him on the spot.
And we thought it was a softball because he said it was one of his favorite bands, and that's one of their most famous songs.
Yeah.
It's their most famous song, period. I think.
One of the most famous.
As far as pop culture is concerned,
Yeah.
if you ask
whoever's into the metal scene.
name any Sepultura, they be Roots.
Bloody Roots, right?
Oh yeah, Roots, Bloody Roots, yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Yeah, and he just totally flaked on that. What?
It was very disappointing, and he was kind of shaken up by it and like left the studio being like, "Man, I fucked up." Like I wanted him to leave like, "Oh, thanks, Danger. It was a great time being on the show. I'll remember you later." And he ended up being like, I was like, "Whoops,
I did.
Sorry, dude.
Exposed.
Sorry."
Right? They're just like, hey, I'm actually just I don't know, some weird pop punk fan.
Am I your first guest on the show barefoot?
I'm not sure actually. That's a good question. I'm pretty sure you might be. Jazz, this other person, wears flip flops, but I don't know if she ever took them off. Do you feel powerful?
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Very relaxed and
Very.
in charge.
So I've actually, so dumb. I've been having problems with these stupid mic stands. So if that part slips out of there, I'm so sorry. See this right here?
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. I already am looking at it and I'm just like, God damn it, I hate my life.
You think it's about?
I have 2 more hours of this. No, it's not going to go, but who cares? You'll just hold it like the rest of the world. Tell me more about yourself, Danger.
Well, I can really see the white in my beard.
You look like you're a James Bond villain, but yet you're the main boss of the villains, not like the douchebags that get kicked off of the bridge or anything.
Right, like the ones that come back.
Yeah, they're like and then you never see him again. You look like the guy that sent that guy out there.
Right.
That looks cool.
And he comes in and like, I'm in an insane asylum.
It's hard to
How
think.
could I have done it, Mr. Bond? I've been in here this entire time.
Excellent. It's weird to think of you with long hair, even as, like some of your older like stuff on Facebook.
It was all the way down past my belt.
And you were just totally.
But I was going gray back then too, even when I was 21, 22.
What?
I had a little white streak.
That's some stressful thinking right there.
Metal, dude. It was metal. And all we would do is we would just drive out into the desert and drink 30 packs of Tecate and drink bottles of Old Crow bourbon and make big fires and take acid and run around and yell about robots and ninjas.
Dope.
There was this whole thing that dominated this whole... I was part of this little crusty scene for a couple of years right before my daughter was born. And like the whole group of friends, because of a series of trips and this kind of being brought up again and again and again, we were all obsessed with like this thing called the robot ninja digasm, which is like that argument, and it's in tons of sci-fi media, and there are lots of examples that people can use in their argument to prove one side or the other, but it's like, who wins, robots or ninjas? It's like the best of humans or the best of machines, who wins?
I would have to choose the best of humans, because the creation of the machines was from the humans. So maybe the humans have a mechanism to turn them off really quick. See, this is the thing though. Is AI ever going to get smart enough to know that we can't turn it off?
Yeah.
Can it?
But there's lots. It is a sci-fi concept. It's not supposed to be a realism exercise.
But it's coming up to a realism
like,
exercise. I mean,
like one might bring up the Matrix, and they're like, "Well, look at the Matrix. The machines dominated the human race. Ninjas are not." And then they're like, "Oh, but look at Neo. That's an example of a ninja who's beating the system." But they're like, "Oh, but look at the end of the Matrix trilogy. Motherfucker didn't make it."
Yeah.
And they went on with this cycle without him. That was determined by the machines. It was their compromise with the humans. Okay, fine. We'll do this.
But it's still...
They are dominating us. So that would be an example of robots being on top. And there's lots of other ones too. And, you know... So you think ninjas.
Humans.
Yeah.
Humans, yeah. Or ninjas. In the sense of that we created them, though. And you kind of can see it now with the way like the Boston Dynamic robots and stuff are being. Like they're stronger than us. They're more agile. They can do already stuff that a human can't. But yet there still has that mechanism to turn it off or like slow it down or make it dumb. We kind of still have that ability or power over them. I don't know. Bring up the Skynet thing. Bring up any other of the
Skynet. That's a fine example.
Is it going to be something that comes up to that sense?
Skynet's pretty much always on top. I haven't seen. Have there been Terminator movies where it's just like the end of the movie is like, well, that's it.
We did it.
It's done.
We did it, guys.
The whole time thing is solved.
America. I don't know. That's actually true. I haven't seen. I don't think any of the term. That's why they keep making more, right? Skynet just keeps improving.
Yeah. Because in a lot of perfectly good examples in our media, the robots come out on top in the robot ninja digasm.
Okay. That makes sense too. I mean,
I'm on the side of the robots personally, obviously.
I mean, I don't want to be the ones taken away by the robots.
Yeah, the robots for sure. I think always going to come out on top.
Is that a bad thing though? I mean, robots are already in a sense kind of taking over our some jobs and stuff.
I think when it comes to, if you were to just suppose that, let's say after humans hypothetically leave Earth, and we're traversing the cosmos and we're like shepherds of life across the galaxy, like Star Trek, like, just like protecting life and making new colonies and terraforming worlds that didn't have life before. Ooh, so benevolent. Like, don't you think that robots would be a little bit more efficient and successful at that task because they could, for instance, like travel farther without, fatigue or extra systems on board to keep humans alive? You could just send AI probes in every direction to make established connections and,
just go on from there.
send the equivalent of the Mars rover, except the Mars rover is equipped to just like start mining and build new Mars rovers and make a little base that has telecommunications and ability to create little warp drives that blast off further and just, increase your network.
The way virtual reality and optic reality is, why can you not just have the suit on while you control the robot that's on Mars or that's going to go to the next part of Mars?
Well, part of that is the delay for sure.
But I mean, how we're getting way better with that. There's going to be to a sense where we just end up putting up like maybe if it's not one straight connection from Earth to Mars, it's going to be like multiple connections where it hits satellite, then to Mars. And still in an efficient way, I feel. I mean,
but that could be more realistic when it comes to like humans being in orbit of Mars and controlling little robots on the surface in more real time with less delay, where they're actually picking up rocks and doing shit with them and building things.
Okay.
There you go. Because you could have little robots build whatever the fuck you want. You just drop big heavy crap on the surface and send little things down.
And they
together for you.
Or the other aspect too is just like they get hit with the meteors and stuff, and the robots know exactly what they need from the resources. Because that's one thing that they're kind of thinking of speculating into now is like, what if we start getting resources from like meteors and stuff?
Exactly. I think we should definitely be investing in mining the asteroid belt.
And I think that would be a lot of robots that do that stuff, where you kind of like you say that it's going to be able to terraform on there.
The place is absolutely treacherous for a human being. There's no way you could get people to. They have shows like, what was it, The Expanse, where it was like humans out in the asteroid belt. It's like, no fucking way. They'd be getting nailed by shit.
I'm just skipping along all the asteroids.
Oh, yeah.
But who knows? I'm a very big skeptic, and you never know what they can or can't invent for the humans to make them more acceptable and habitable in space or even on Earth. You've seen those people that train themselves to hold their breath for over 11 minutes.
Yeah,
that's training. That's a mental ability that they're able to.
But even then, whenever they do that, like they get little bloody noses.
They're like, it's
like
still
in the movies where you know something is wrong, but they seem fine, but they're not fine. And then like later on, it turns out they had some sort of a fucked up thing happen in their brain,
peptic ulcer,
and they're like not quite the same. And it's not in a big way. Like they can still do a bank account and everything, but every time they see like their daughter, they're like a little less happy. It's like some sort of fucked up thing that changed.
It happens. That makes sense. Ski or head injuries, stuff like that. When I was younger, I was actually in a ski accident where they actually had to airlift me off of the resort to the hospital. I was on a coma for 2 days, they said.
Yeah, that shit is for real.
So, I mean, there might be that little niche where you just give me that right kind of hit, and you never know what's going to reignite or turn back on or turn off. I don't know.
I always am really like cautious at ski resorts because I know that they're like the number 2 killer cause of death and douchebags.
Right.
So I'm just like super on the lookout.
It's just like, how did you get your brain injury? Oh, bro, I was hitting the mountain. Hit the mountain. Like, I'm sorry, dude.
And the most dangerous thing to humans is hippopotamus, right? Isn't that what I heard? That's a hippopotamus. And so, hippopotamus on a ski slope. I'm pretty sure you can Google it. Most dangerous
Hippopotamus.
things that could ever happen to a human is a hippopotamus.
Danger. First thing in humans.
Oh, maybe narrow down the search to treacherous. It's the most treacherous. I don't think they're sneaky. Hippopotami wouldn't be sneaky.
Yeah, right? I mean, you can pretty much... Well, who knows? That'd be funny.
Hippopotamus, most dangerous.
This list just shows 50 things in your house that can kill you. Jesus. Do I really want
to know the only reason why hippopotamus isn't on that? There aren't any hippopotamus kill you. Number 1, I'm not even kidding you.
Dude, number 2, houseplants. Number 3, hippopotamus. Just kidding. No, this is just stupid.
Like, they put hippopotamus on 3? That's a bullshit list.
That's a shitty
trash list. I'd wipe my ass with that list.
Where's the sources? Fucking familyhandyman.com? What is wrong with you? Yeah, houseplants are something that can kill you. Lint and dryers, very dangerous.
Okay.
Gas ranges, very dangerous. Knives,
right?
Very dangerous. Extension cords. It's not even talking about the outlets, just the extension cord.
You can see, like, Dorothy hopping through the woods with her friends, all like, knives, extensions cords, dryer, lint, oh my.
Tell me more. Toothpaste. Goes into your mouth, sometimes several days. I don't even want to read how it's going to kill you.
No.
Electric blanket. Yeah. That seems logical.
That's supposed to kill you.
I mean, I think they're made that
There's
way.
no surprise there.
This just is for people that eat, spicy lovers. You might die from certain spices around your house. Air conditioner. The air conditioner can kill you.
Well, of course that can too.
Jesus, this is a death trap in this house.
Some of these things on this list we know. Like, there's an honest, partial intent on behalf of the makers to kill people, to kill human beings, to get scalps. Whenever they created the air conditioner, you don't think that there wasn't someone driving it in the office being like, I need scalps, people. Like, drive up the intake on these machines. Let's find a way to catch some fingers in them.
I think that's the case now when you have to go buy a dryer or a washer or an air conditioner. That's like, well, you got to get lifetime insurance for yourself because, yeah, this thing is very dangerous. Number 10 is a flat screen. What the fuck?
Well, that's only dangerous because that's used as a projectile. Like,
yeah,
I don't think knives and TV should count because those are things people grab and hit you
to
with.
Use as a weapon.
Yeah,
right?
because the person is like, that means, girlfriend is dangerous, not TV.
There you go, right? Spouse, significant other. Oh, man, I'm done with this list. Lead paint, mold, cleaning bathroom, Tylenol. Jesus, I'm done with you. Welcome back. We're back at MuseMe TV. That was one of the worst lists. Thank you for the viewers that are in right now. We have 16 playbacks and 4 viewers in right now. You guys are awesome. If you guys have any questions or comments, just throw them in right now. We're just having a chat, just talking with Danger.
Do you have any live viewers on your show?
Live?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, do you stream live?
This is live right now.
We're live?
This is live right now. We are live on MuseMe TV /YouTube.
Fuck. How long have we been going for?
30 minutes.
I forgot to ask you before we started.
Do you need the bathroom?
What's this show about?
Nothing. Oh. It's a show about nothing. I don't want to use that same premise as like Seinfeld or anything, but I just come on this show to have a conversation with somebody I rarely know.
Thank goodness.
To talk.
Goodness. Thank goodness.
Unless you want to be quizzed, I can totally be like, so I'm going to read off a lyric right now. Let's see how metal you are.
No, I'm not that metal.
Some things we do on this show are just some random look up significant stuff, maybe after your date or something, on your birthday. What was cool on your birthday? Or what was hit music on your birthday? We look up shit like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
We see how famous you are by Googling your name.
Ooh, do that.
All right, you guys know what time it is. It's Google time. So what we do is we just take the name Danger K Varoz, slap it into Google, and see what the first searches are.
Here we go.
So got Google here, slapping it in. Danger K Varoz. You guys need to take into account that this is based off. Oh, you have an IMDb.
Yeah.
You also were in AlbuquerqueComedy.com, Instagram. Let's go see the images that pop up for Danger K Varoz.
Oh, hey, look at this.
Dang, that's good.
Look at this one, the smolder.
This one right here.
Damn.
Let's get a look at that right there. That's on Pinterest.
I
Wow.
was taking it back. It's on Pinterest?
It's on Pinterest.
Why is that on Pinterest?
I have no idea, but it's right there.
I've never had. That's interesting. Why is it on Pinterest? Wait, that's not good.
Is it? Let's find out. Let's do a little more digging. Yep, Pinterest.com. It's there.
Fascinating.
And we should go more into this. Then I don't get sponsored by these guys. But yeah, okay,
you're one. Those guys.
Pretty good. Some of the people that I do, we have to scroll down a little bit before we start seeing them.
But we're hitting it right away.
Or we don't even see them at all. So,
oh my God, look at this. There's even a tweet of mine.
Is this recent?
Yeah.
Dang. There you go, guys. So more famous than you would think.
Wow.
A lot of people don't think they're famous until you actually hit them with the Google search.
Yeah, look at that.
That's how you find out where your status is. You got clout. You got clout, bro.
Fantastic.
Well, that was Google. And that's how we do it.
I think it's not fair because other people have normal names like Rick and stuff.
No, but they should, if they're...
It's mixed in with all these other names.
If they're famous enough, they should come up. They should come up.
There it is. Well,
you heard it here, folks.
Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here.
I'm kind of a big deal on Google. So.
He's big deal. Well, all the other websites that are promoting you, the comedy, AlbuquerqueComedy.com, the IMDb.
Well, the reason that came up is because
that's not really you.
I run the Squarespace that hosts AlbuquerqueComedy.com,
and it shows.
Or I pay for it anyway.
And it shows that you do that.
And I used, you know how you can make little side pages?
Yeah.
I made a side page that doesn't have a button, and that links to my personal website. So DangerKVaroz.com just links to a little secret hidden page at AlbuquerqueComedy.com.
Okay. And is that's based off of another website, right? Because I'm looking for DangerKVaroz.com, but it's LinkedIn.com, right? Is that the website that you use?
No. DangerKVaroz.com should just come up.
Actual. Okay, so that website needs to get some... You need to get that website up.
Uh-oh.
I'm ready on page 2. I don't see it.
Wait. But remember to click on my regular Google search, right?
That's not how it works.
Was the second.
That's not how it works.
But when you clicked on my name
on
Google,
Danger K Varoz.
That was the second thing that came up.
Yeah, on this end, right?
Yeah, right there. I think that's it.
Oh, this is your page on their website.
Yeah.
But you kind of still host the website and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
People were supposed to put shows on there and stuff, but no one really ever did. So it's just kind of sitting there.
Oh, okay. See, this was
other local producers like Rusty and Kevin and Buck D and Zach. They all have access to it and the passwords, so they can sign in and upload their flyers and put in their information under showcases.
Okay.
And then there's also open mics, and that one is maintained. And I think Mary Bird helps a lot with that, with making sure that the open mic list is updated.
Oh, because that was the first website where I found the open mics, was on Albuquerque Comedy. And
it works.
It does. It does what you need to. It really does.
Perfect.
But some of them were not up to date.
Yeah.
But I mean that's.
So we struggle with that.
It's a dying culture, man. It hurts. How do you feel comedy's going to survive in this whole pandemic?
Well, it's alive and well right now in some places.
I want to go to Texas.
Our friend Kurt Fletcher, he's touring. He's doing shows.
Nice.
He's got full lineups. They're all in red states that have eased restrictions on places like that. So he's taking an elevated risk, but that's what he does for a living. So what else is he gonna fucking do? He's not like me. I'm not like a comedian for a living. I was a bartender and a comedian.
Okay.
And a couple other things where I got money.
Got your name out there.
I was telling jokes at the casino for money. I was bartending at the casino for money. I was doing acting gigs, driving Uber. Yeah, all that shit is over now. Every single one of my sources of income are gone. Except I did get an acting gig recently, and that was nice.
Dope.
It was for a pilot called Churchaholics. They have like a little Instagram and stuff, and they put me in their graphics and stuff. I play the villain.
Interesting.
I'm like a super church pastor. My name is Zach. I'm a douchebag super church pastor.
Churchaholics, and it's just probably like based off of a religious family or something that goes to church a lot. Or I mean, I'm not trying to guess the premise.
They were getting their inspiration from like The Office and Parks and Rec.
Okay.
It's supposed to be kind of like that, but it's the administrators of a big church, like the pastor and the people who run it, and then his competition comes in as a dick.
Right.
And
Gators.
I got
gators.
I got cast as the dick. I get to be the dickhead.
You get to look fly. You better have gold rings on, navigators on, a monocle. I want to see a monocle.
It was really cool when they put me in the Jesus piece. Like I really felt the power.
Oh,
like
dude.
I really felt it. I was raised a Christian, right?
Okay.
I was raised a diabolical Christian, like an evangelical free. My dad was like a born again nut, but he was already Catholic when he was being raised. So it's like he was just he was all about it. Get that Jesus.
Just do it.
And yeah, I put that Jesus piece on. I was like, he's back.
Oh. Just enlightens you.
And the power has been with me ever since then. That's been really nice because that's been something that's been missing from my comedy is the power of God. So when I get back on the scene, people better watch out.
Jesus is making this comeback.
And they made things right with the Lord.
That's. I think that's what everybody kind of needs is just a little sprinkle of faith, just a little sprinkle of a nice holy water sprinkle. I don't know. Jesus. Yeah. I was never a religious person growing up. I was my parents are religious, but they didn't really care if I was or wasn't. So I mean, you go
That's
to my
nice. It's refreshing.
You go to my parents' house, they still have like, pictures of Jesus and like some saints up, and I'm just like, that's cool. But they're not really like Catholic. They're more Christian, weird kind of mix.
Wait, so pictures of, is it like white Jesus?
Yeah, white Jesus.
So weird.
Yeah. And because technically I'm Mexican / Chicano Hispanic, because my mom is more white but still has some Hispanic heritage, but my dad is full on Mexican, like Aztec color Mexican. So he has that Catholic side of him where he still worships the saints and all of them. But my mom had the Christian side where it was just like, oh, it's just pretty much about Jesus. We don't got to worry about everyone else. And they kind of intermingle, so we kind of see that all over the house. I'm just like, oh, well, whatever. You guys can't even decide, so why should I have to decide? And they were cool with it. They were really like, oh, you got to go to church and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it worked out because, I mean, hail Satan, right? I mean,
oh, hell yeah.
It's a more invigorating feeling, if you ask me, or if you kind of believe in, like, extraterrestrials and stuff. Because that's a crazy topic in itself, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that the extraterrestrial belief thing is necessarily the same. Because it's not the same.
Yeah, I saw that episode of Ancient Aliens, too.
Because here's the thing. The difference is there is not a mathematical improbability that God and the angels and the God of the Hebrew Bible don't exist.
Okay.
Right? But because of the sheer vastness of space and the countless hundreds of billions of opportunities in all the galaxies that we've seen, when you zoom out there and in between and oh my God, it's full of galaxies. And you're like, like all those galaxies out there with all those planets, man. Like the mathematical probability that there isn't life or intelligent life even is like almost zero.
Have you ever heard of the Fermi paradox?
But that it's too far away because of space and time that we'll never actually reach each other.
Or that we might just be the first. Right. Literally might be the first.
Right.
I mean, there is intelligent life and there's intelligent life developing, but we literally beat them to the race.
Or if someone else beat us to the race, they are in one of those other galaxies and there's no way in hell they'd ever reach it.
Yeah, the expansion, so they keep going so far.
Yeah.
Or they don't give a fuck. They literally look at us as ants, how we look at... There's ants out there in the world that never have a human interaction in their life. They don't even know what a human looks like. So what's not to say that's how they treat us, is like there are those little ants out here that see an alien or a UFO, but in hindsight, the majority of all of us will never see them.
Right, like kind of like in Star Trek-y, like hyper advanced.
There you go. Super hyper advanced, yeah.
That just like Q beings darting through space and being like, look at that.
And you kind of goes into more of speculation and stuff, but like dimensional beings and like spiritual realms and the way we can't even comprehend light in certain aspects. Like we see a spectrum of light, and there's only something there's only a little amount that we could see of it. Like this little amount. See this? That's all the light we can see out of this giant spectrum of what's out there. And that's what blows me away too, is that like intelligent life probably can use all of this other light sources that we still are trying to develop and learn how to use it. We use x-rays just to see our bones inside, but yet who knows if somebody else over there uses ultraviolet rays to like literally travel through space or move faster than anything knows.
Right, like people are like, well, we don't really understand x-rays so far. It's the least understood of all the electromagnetic wavelengths, and it's like that's because that's the one that we use to star skate, you know, or wherever the fuck, or that's the one that we use for warp.
Yeah, or like
you use gamma radiation to go and snap into some other, you know, to bend space time. That's what X-rays are for, or some shit like that. But like realistically, any other life, they're going to be clinging to some other rock, like so far away in the vastness of space and time. It's true, they won't ever reach us.
Yeah.
So it's not a belief thing. I think but there's two levels to it, because there's almost a mathematical assurity that they are out there. But are they here? Are they UFOs that we've seen? Are they interacting with humans? Are they abducting humans? Are they doing tests? Are we doing tests? Have there been any contacts of any sort? Like, that's where we have belief come into play.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any reason to believe that. I do have a lot of reason to believe that people are liars and make shit up. And also make shit up on accident and believe their own lie. And then, you know, that happens too. Like, there's so many things.
Or the cover-up aspect too. Like, government's starting now to say, hey, man, UFOs, we see them, but we don't know what they are. Now they're starting to say it. Back in 2000, when I was growing up, I saw a weather balloon, and that's all they kept saying it was.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but what happened so far with that is that the government announced that, like you said, that there were UFOs that were unexplained, and they had documentation, and they would be releasing information about that in the near future.
Yeah.
And that was all that actually happened, and they have not since released anything.
I think there has been some things released, especially one of the big things that they're kind of contemplating on or trying to go against is how fast one of these things moves. They're trying to figure out how scientists can actually comprehend that, because there are radar blips where it shows something moving on the dime, like super fast. Like, they can't explain that. And that's actual physical evidence that is recorded and is given to the public. So
right.
With that, what do we do with that? Like, is it just a mistake in our malfunction?
And that is possible. It is some sort of a cosmic ray of some sort.
There's
an anomaly,
exactly.
Electromagnetic anomaly of some sort that's just passing through Earth, and it came up because we were looking at that one spot at the one time. We're like, what the fuck is that? And we don't know, and we're not going to find out for 1,000 years.
No, it was one that was actually pursuing them. So it felt like it was following them. When they actually got more of a heads up of what was going on, that's when it just out of the blue just disappeared. So it was something that they can actually, what's this? Why are we should go check it out. And when they do start checking it out, it starts reacting in a way, it's gone, and now that's what we deal with.
And almost then too, then once you involve the belief system about what the interaction actually is between humans and extraterrestrials, then it's like a case by case basis. And it's like, well, are they doing this? Are they abducting people and sticking probes in their butts? I don't know. Is that based off of it happening once ever, and then the story got out? You know, maybe some race came by and did that thing to somebody once.
One time.
Right.
One time, and now it's the story of fascination.
And then maybe another interaction, like with what you're talking about, maybe that was a different species that was like just cruising by and decided to do a little joy flyby and was like, "What's down here? Let's fuck with them," and then blast it out.
I like how you just said species,
Right?
because there's actually some other documents that were released. This is more speculation, but it's cool to know. I've always been an open-minded person. If it's not real, who cares? At least I know it, right? Mm-hmm. This one was the Russians released a book back in, I think, the late 70s, early 80s, pretty long ago, of literally an encyclopedia of alien races from A to Z. And I watched the video. I saw a couple of videos where people just like kind of read it, but they don't read it. You know how they have the computer do the reading for them, and they do that whole like that computer reading voice simulator thing or whatever. But they have at least 23 A's, like 14 C's. Like, where even the idea of these is weird, because if you listen to it, some of these...
What is it? It's an encyclopedia of categorizing different descriptions of aliens.
It's actually called the Alien Race Book. That's what it's called.
So they just took everyone's different stories and descriptions of what they saw and then turned that into an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Just like, assuming everyone's true, this is what we're looking at.
Yeah, with accounts from some very prominent people. That's what throws it away.
We're a veritable airport.
Here's one of them. This is actually very funny. I think it's amazing. Have you ever heard of the Blue Man Group?
Yes.
These three dudes that just dress up. Have you ever heard any history about them or why they do it? Mm-mm. They actually have this weird niche about an actual alien race that's blue. Weird. It's a weird encounter that they've had before, and they feel that embodiment when they play as the Blue Man Group. In this alien race book, it explains a group of aliens. I cannot remember the exact name of the aliens, but they're also categorized as the Blues. Weird. Okay. They said the story goes they came when Nixon was president, and they actually talked to him. Well, they wanted to talk to him, but Nixon didn't want to talk to him because he was scared that they have mental powers to be able to take the nuclear launch codes or something. So he didn't meet with them. They ended up meeting with other people. And the book says that they were due to return in 2020. So that was what was crazy about it. And then, you know that song, I forgot by the band, ELF 95 or whatever, but it's about that guy. It's like, I'm blue, la-dee-dee-da-dee-da. Yeah. That's a whole interpretation of a creature of an alien race that's a blue person. I know that sounds far-fetched, weird. It's like, oh my God, all these similarities, they're stupid. But it's great to have these little niches that can be coincidences. It could be some kind of something that we just can't explain, especially with the way that our life has been changed by not only by psilocybin, but different kind of like mushrooms and like all these like brain inducing things that can change your aspect of life. Like, yeah, I'm telling you guys I tripped on acid, but what does that really do to us in a sense? Like, do we really know what's really going on, or is it something that gets explained in the background, like a shitty ass curtain? You know, you're just like, it's there, but I never get to really go back there. It's all there.
Oh my God.
And then just FYI, we're totally just microdosed on 2 milligrams of shrooms. That's why. Just kidding. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's the beauty of life, is all these fucked up questions that just blow me away.
Is that the beauty?
Is it? It really is.
Beautiful.
I think it's fucking beautiful.
Is the uncertainty.
Yeah, I feel like if we did know, then it would be boring. It would be kind of boring. Especially if we found out, like, oh yeah, we were experiments. Like, oh, that's cool. This is a simulation. Who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
That's one of those things that always blows me away in itself, too. People have kind of speculated the way that technology has advanced itself.
Being in a simulation is almost worse than there being God.
No, why?
Yeah, because if you're in a simulation, it's probably because, you know, simulations are run to collect data and information, right? And to learn things.
Yeah.
So that means that, you know, that idea, if you're, you know, raised Christian, that God is watching everything you're doing and judging you.
Yeah.
Same in the simulation. You're having every little detail of your thoughts and your actions recorded, and then you're being like compared systematically to other versions of you through time and different simulations. And
one thing that throws me off though is what if the simulation was to learn how to be more human-like? So whoever is control of the simulation is more of a gelatinous kind of like glob figure that takes all the data and information that they're kind of learning and stuff, and now this is what we come as. Told you, there it is, everybody, there it is. Hell yeah, I knew it was gonna happen. I fucking knew it. This is what happens when you have fucking Amazon equipment. Guess what, Amazon? I'm gonna put a bad review on this damn mic stand.
But it's gonna be okay because we have the technology to fix it. We can rebuild it. This goes up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's so weird too because technically the way that the book shows that it has to be a super rock flat surface, and this table is not like that. Mm-hmm. As you can tell, as you can feel, unfortunately. Joseph Cruz, what's up, man? Thank you for Joseph Cruz. Thank you for joining. What is up, man? He said basement spiders and also it's a sign. That's all I said in the comments section.
Basement spiders.
I think he's referring to that South Park episode where the Queen Spider.
I think he's referring to a joke that I tell.
Oh, do you now? Do you have a joke about a spider in a basement? Mm-hmm. That's a South Park premise.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Really?
Well, we're about to find.
What happens in South Park?
Everyone is a religious people. Like they believe in some kind of religion, right? So the Catholics believe. They're like, oh, we got to believe in God and stuff. But it turns out that their person that they worship is a queen spider. Oh, hail the queen spider. Okay. We must worship the queen spider. And she's kind of in the basement of the Vatican.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
That's very different than my joke.
Oh, okay. Did you kill the spider in this joke? This is going to...
Yeah.
No! Anyways, shout out to Danger for sticking in with the whole equipment failure. I mean, dude, I'm sorry.
We're coming together.
I used to have this other one that was like a mic stand that's just right here, but you kind of can't do this. This is fun, you know? People like to like, hey, I like to sit back, blah, blah, blah. But anyways,
you know,
basement spider.
I feel like I should have asked this before we started.
Basement spider, no.
I feel like I should have asked this, but like, how long is your show?
However long you can make it.
Oh, really? It's just a...
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
The longest I've had on here was hour and 55 minutes, almost 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
So that was a good one.
Who did that one?
Nico, Joaquin Roybal.
Okay.
He's a newer comedian. We kind of started at the same time.
You guys really just went at it for a while.
Yeah, we just talked. He's actually a really funny guy. He's nice, very intelligent. He's got a master's degree in mining, engineer mining, I think it is.
What the fuck? That's so interesting.
Yeah, and he's going to start pursuing his doctorate here soon.
You could talk about geology with that motherfucker.
Anything. He's actually really good at fucking algorithm hack or like Facebook stuff. Like, you know, he build bots and stuff just to use on Twitter and shit like that.
Huh, okay.
So I was like, hey, man, get me some more viewers or something. So instead, he wins the race. Yeah. Again, shout out to Danger. Appreciate you not dropping my equipment so bad. Okay, here's the thing though. You wouldn't be the first time to. Well, it wasn't really your fault, but the microphone has fallen before, and on this corner of that microphone is a really bad indent. It looks like she got beat.
Mm. Yeah, it was terrible. Who did that?
This guest. Her name was Rihanna. She came in and she was just kind of a little clumsy. And it just one thing led to another.
It's terrible.
Your basement joke. Can I hear your spider basement joke?
Yeah, you know, basically it's just that it was inspired by a true story. I was staying in this really gross basement at this house in LA while I was out there staying for like a week or two. Can't remember which visit it was, but I had some shows booked. And and yeah, it was like a bunch of comics in this house, and so like kind of inspired this like real story. Where it's like, so I'm out in LA, and I'm staying in this compound with these guys. But when I got there, they had to come let me in because there was a huge gate at the end of the driveway and a big fence all around the property. And
Oh,
they like had
jeez.
a padlock on it, and they had to slide it up and give me a key. And like, hey man, welcome to the city. Have fun telling jokes. You know, like just let us know what you need. Just make sure when you leave, you slide this gate shut and you lock it. Because the water utility authority is trying to get on the property and shut off the water to the house. And this is so funny because I haven't told this joke since before coronavirus. You know, I haven't told any jokes since. So I was like, "Yeah, man, I got you. I'm a broke comic too. You know, I'll lock the gate."
Yeah.
So I go inside and I meet like there's like a bunch of guys living in the house, like 12 broke,
Jeez.
smelly, depressed comics, and the whole just place like smelled like feet and depression, and there was like evidence of podcasting like everywhere. You know, like,
Everybody's doing
like,
it. Yeah.
God, and then and every single one of the other comics, when I met them, one by one, all told me the same fucking thing. They were just like, "Yeah, man, welcome to the city. Have fun telling jokes, and you know, so just make sure you slide that gate shut and you lock it." I was like, "God, I fucking got it."
The
Like,
water.
God, Jesus Christ, I got it.
Water.
Yeah. So I get down to the basement, and they had warned me about it first, but it was like worse than I could imagine. They had warned me. They were like, "Hey, man, sorry about the basement. Where are you gonna stay?" Like, but you know, the guy kind of left in a hurry, and we didn't get a lot of chance to clean up after it. But there's a bed, and you know, and if it makes you feel any better, we were down there all day long today, like, as a team, just killing spiders. And I was like,
Jesus.
like, and so I went down there, and there was like still clothes and piles of shit on the floor, and a sword, and this gross little tiny mattress, and right underneath the plumbing for the toilet upstairs. So every time someone took a dump or a piss and flushed the toilet, it would be like right above me. It was terrible. And there were piles of dead spiders on the floor.
Oh God.
Like everywhere. They just left them, and they were so gross. I was like,
They're like they were killed but not removed.
yeah. And but then I saw one spider like left alive, like in the corner of the basement, like in the dark, just out of the way. Yeah.
Just watching.
And he had this look on his little fuzzy spider face, like he had seen all that shit go down. You know,
the massacre.
And like right when our eyes locked, he like whispered, he's like, "Oh my God, danger!" And I was like, "Oh my God, a fucking talking spider! What the fuck?" And he was like, "Danger Varoz." And I was like, "Yeah." And I had so many questions, and I was like, you know, like, what happened to all your friends? You know, like, what's it like living in LA? You know, like, who taught you English? You know, all these questions for him. He's like, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Just make sure when you leave, you slam that gate shut and you lock it.
That's good.
That's that joke. I just told it to you, special on your show.
No, yeah, that's nothing close to the South Park premise, but that's actually a good one. I liked it.
So, I'm safe.
It's crazy to think about too that like how long have you been doing comedy then?
8 years, I think.
8 years?
7 years, 8 years.
Where have you gone to do it?
I've gone to 19 cities, and I've done something like 100 venues.
How many states?
11 states. Yeah. It's been
Jeez.
great. I've done comedy clubs in Los Angeles, multiple ones, multiple times. Like big clubs in other cities. Some of the best shows that I've done were indie shows in Denver and around, like with the Boulder Comedy Show. It's probably my favorite. They do 2 shows in one night. It's this huge brewery, and they have this big indoor room with all these benches, and they're all facing the stage, and everyone's drunk.
Oh, dude.
And it just packs out, and they all order food, and then as soon as everyone's got their food, they kill the lights, and the show starts, and then they bring all 3 comics out, and it's fast, you know, like it's not like a long, grueling show.
Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Quick little introduction.
Yeah,
We're done.
Just long enough for people to eat and pay their bills, and then get the fuck out, and then they close the theater, clean it out, file in another group of people. It was fantastic. I made a bunch of money, and I made a bunch of good friends, and I never made friends when I went to LA, like ever.
Is it just a different environment and stuff?
Yeah, it was a lot more. Competitive.
Okay.
And I think everyone fancies themselves a professional. and as opposed to like other cities where the more experienced comics are rubbing shoulders with the brand new comics because they're sharing an open mic scene with each other like that. I don't think it's the same in Los Angeles anyway.
And it's just like that kind of sense where there's actually a bigger, I guess everyone's trying to compete for that time where they think like, oh, I can't really bring this guy up or actually try to help this guy out because then that's my shot to get lost, or I don't have that opportunity. Is that really the aspect of it? Like, that kind of sucks.
I don't know. I think it's just more of a straight up hostility. Just being dicks. People are just dicks, you know, in Los Angeles compared to other places. We have a really friendly scene here.
Yeah. It's small though, right? Very small.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've heard you guys, there's been so many numerous attempts to try to open up a club and stuff, and it just doesn't go. Like the Box, right? Something like that. I don't know the whole history of the comedy here, so that's why hearing these things is just like, oh man, really? There was a comedy club? Like, yeah, but it only lasted a few months. Like, what? Like, how did that even work?
I
Like,
had one for a year. The private club, Open Source Comedy.
okay.
And we had packed shows.
And that was like
all the
when?
time.
Like around what years? With the golden years.
It ended like exactly 3 years ago.
Okay.
Exactly 3 years ago, like this September.
Okay.
So it started 4 years ago.
So like 16.
Yeah.
2016.
Yep.
And that was just like the experience of building the comedy scene, right? Like kind of like getting your name out there. That's like, hey, this is a spot where we do comedy. Come check it out. Grows little by little.
The problem was I couldn't advertise, so I had to rely on word of mouth. And I was hoping that I could rely on support from the comedy scene, that they would come and bring friends, and anyone that they knew had come to their comedy shows elsewhere might come here, because it was just a membership fee. You give us $20, you come to all the shows all month long. And I think that was too much.
They couldn't handle that. They weren't ready for this subscription plan, Varoz.
Well, we had like over 100 members at some point.
It's no Netflix, but you were trying.
But yeah, it ended up just not being enough.
That sucks. And that was pretty much to cover, like, you know, comedians there, the rent, trying to just keep the place established and going.
Yeah. Well, we had X amount of overhead, and I was personally funding it to stay open for a year to see if I can get the bottom line from what we were making to cover the overhead. And by the end, it was just short, but it wasn't enough, and I ran out of money to keep it open. Like, I think if I had more capital to keep it going for another year, maybe I could have gotten it up there.
It would have found the middle ground to start profiting and cashing itself out.
But that, as well as like, I was just getting really depressed. It was really tearing at me, like running a business, not being enough, not succeeding like I was hoping I would. It was tearing me apart, and I lost my fucking mind. I got very depressed, and I just had to stop. And I was just like, I'm gonna be done, and I walk away. And everything that I was doing to fund open source comedy, if you know what I'm saying, I walked away from all that too, and just went back to bartending and went back to school. That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm in school. I was a bartender until coronavirus.
But then one of those niches, right? You still go up there and still tell jokes and stuff, right? That's still kind of that thing that you like to do.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's because, I mean, you can't just say you don't. You got to stop. I mean, we're still... Well,
I don't think it's going to be over forever. Obviously, venues are going to open back up, and they're going to do shows again, and then we'll just look at consumer safety and see how people feel. Like, if they feel secure going out, then we'll be in shape. But I don't think people are going to feel secure going out until after winter. I don't think they're going to have normal comedy shows in New Mexico.
Okay.
We might get ordinances lifted or restrictions lifted to the point where people can.
25, 30%
like
maybe.
Kevin's going to throw a show at
Red Velvet.
No matter what the fuck anyone says.
Yeah.
And we'll see how many people actually go.
This Saturday.
Because they would get packed out before.
Yeah.
And, it's tricky. Because that's like something that we can't... It's not something that a comedian can overcome. It's like a comedian's like, I got a show, I got to make sure my friends know, I got to do some word of mouth, maybe do some flyers, maybe do an event on Facebook, just do what I can to make sure people know that if they want to come see me, they can, to advertise for yourself. But then like now there's this big hill you got to get over. It was like, but everyone's feeling a little unsafe, and everyone's on these different situations, and I don't know what that might be. Is it insensitive for me to ask this person to do a comedy show because they got a nana at home that I don't know about? What the hell's gonna,
I think it's gonna be like more people just have to reach out if they want to do it.
Lose fans because I'm being pushy about shows too early? Should I just chill and sit back? Like I envy Kurt because he's just like, they're paying me to go to Scottsdale and then I got to go back to Des Moines.
Yeah.
For presumably a bunch of rednecks that want to see me tell Nazi jokes, and it's like great, but like here in Albuquerque, that's different.
Yeah. And it's not. I mean, we're not in a red state, big red city like Scottsdale or Des Moines. Like, we're not gonna have like, you may have people easing restrictions, but are you gonna also have the public feeling equally safe? And then you have problems like, is the public feeling safe even a good thing? Aren't the people who feel more safe the ones who are a little bit more misguided about this right now? Like, if they are specifically red state big cities that are doing comedy shows, isn't that indicative of a political spectrum where we have people like, it's on the right, conservatives and Trump supporters who are more flagrant about wearing masks and social distancing and being careful about things and washing hands and not having big gatherings and all this stuff, not going to comedy shows, compared to the right, where it's just kind of a little bit different. I mean, they don't. I don't want to say they don't care, but some people see the different aspects as like, hey man, there's people that don't get to go to work and they need to go to work. Like, that they should be able to do that kind of stuff. Like, comedians out there, there's a sense of people that do really comedy just for a living. Like, that's it. And if that state or that area doesn't allow you to do it, you're kind of fucked for a while, unless you do the Kurt thing and just go where it's needed or go where it's found. And that's kind of a shitty aspect in what our society and what our country is kind of turning into, is like this literal civil unrest of two parties that are just like, oh, well, I'm for this. Well, I'm not for this. Well, guess what? And that's going to be shitty, because the election coming up is very, very scary. Because no matter who wins, somebody's going to get pissed off. And what's going to happen when that person or those people get mad of whatever side?
Especially if they doubt the legitimacy of the results.
Keep feeding the fire, Danger. It's true, though. It is true. I mean, that just brings more to the table. It's just like, yeah, because it was all mail-in ballots, and it's like, well, half of the people that voted on time in person, that's why your person won. I mean, it's going to be one of those little things where
it's not going to be easy. People are like, what are we going to do, I think about that Louis C.K. joke where he's talking about how teaching is difficult. It's like really hard because it's like, no, you have to like, you have a bunch of kids, they don't want to learn math, and you have to make them learn it, like, against their will.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. And it's like our struggle is literally like, we have what is 25% of 350 million people?
A good chunk.
That are confirmed unabashed racists and white supremacists, in my opinion. That's my opinion what the figure is that 25%, or if at least 25% of white people anyway, are just unabashed racists. Man, white supremacists. And it's like, what do you do about that? Because they're living here, they're citizens, they have human rights, they have civil rights. What do you do about them? You're going to put them in a concentration camp? What do you do with this? What do you do with this? You have to, like those children wearing masks, like, you have to make them stop being racist. And they don't want to stop being racist.
Yeah, you'll see the...
To make them stop it against their will. And it's like, how the fuck do you do that?
That's where you see, you see some really hurtful stuff, like under the shadows and stuff. Like, yeah, you can put it to the aspect and like, it has to be stopped and has to be done. But there are going to be, no matter what, racist out there. I mean, and it's not really putting a light on them or anything, but it's more like, I feel it's more of a shunning thing, more of like letting them know that the majority of people out there are not what they think they are. Even though you do speak of 25%, people in that 25% think they're part of the 100%. They really think so, just because they're like, oh, there's this small group of people that think like me. There's so much more, but it's not really that much. I mean, is it something that's a cultural thing too? Is it learned over time of a culture, or is it something that can be forgotten because maybe...
Yeah, you can forget it. I think it gets unlearned. But the desire for racists to perpetuate their maligned ideas into their children is very strong. You know, they have a huge desire. I think often the big problem here is that what happened with this Black Lives Matter, this last one, is like I think a bunch of people, hopefully, maybe I'm being an idealist, got whipped into action as far as like specifically white people, and being like, raising your children to not be racist and to know about what this country needs to be held accountable for needs to be every bit as important to you as raising your kid to be a Nazi is to a bunch of fucking Nazis, because it's fucking important to them.
Yeah,
it's super important that Ricky's a little Nazi just like Poppy. But I think a bunch of white people in this country got complacent, like, oh well, I have black friends and it doesn't seem that bad to me and it's okay, and they have no fucking idea, and so they've gotten complacent and they've allowed their children to grow up and be complacent, so it's not part of their worldview that there's a problem. And so a bunch of people are having to be like, hey, there's still a problem. And, you know, I, for one, am raising my child to be aware. We've watched documentaries about the civil rights movement, had discussions about it. We've read things. I've shown her articles that I was reading that I thought were interesting. Had good conversations. Just trying to make sure that she knows exactly what happened and why and what's still happening.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of white people aren't doing that. I think they're just like, it's not my kid. So
that's
don't be racist.
Yeah.
And they don't explain what racism is or what the history is or exactly how racism applies to people of color in this country in the modern day area. Because people are like, well, racism's over because they're not getting lynched in the streets anymore. It's like, well, how fucking stupid are you if you don't understand how profiling of people of color by police and police brutality don't come together and end in civil rights violations and murder, you know, like on a rampant scale. And
because it all shows some kind of similarities or underlying issues with racism. Even though maybe you are the cop that's ahead of everybody and you have to do this procedure and stuff, there are more ways and more different aspects of how it's done. And I do get what you're saying, is just like people are just taught to kind of just like, don't be racist, but yet they still see when grandpa or when like it was brought up to them in movies and stuff, like I know you're a big movie guy, but have you ever seen the movie American History X? Mm-hmm. Yeah, where it's literally
fantastic.
It's a really racist movie though, and some people show that movie as a way to
show people why racism is bad.
Yeah, and it's kind of not that aspect too, because it turns into more of like a cool fascination thing, and it translates very differently when you get older, especially if you see it at a younger age and stuff. It's weird. It is very weird. But that's that aspect where it's just like, hey, don't be a racist. Watch this movie about racism, and it's
the other big thing wasn't just the accountability for racism in white people, but also accountability of all law enforcement. You know, I've been watching movies recently with like an adjusted worldview, and all of a sudden, like, you know, we saw Point Break the other day, and all of a sudden, like, I'd seen it before, and I was like, whatever, you know, it was a movie, I didn't notice anything. But watching it this time, I was like, Keanu Reeves is in gross violation of like a number of FBI protocols. And he's just like a dirty cop who's lying to people, coercing, shooting guns at moving cars and
swindling,
people as they're running away, doing all kinds of terrible things. He's just a monster, dangerous, bad cop. And the bad guys are bank robbers who are the most careful to not hurt anybody the FBI has ever seen. That was what the first thing they said about it. Was like, what's so special about this? Oh, well, they've never hurt anybody. They never let anyone get hurt. They're really good about that. Oh, interesting. Why the fuck are we going after these guys again? Let's go get the people that hurt people. So it's like they're going after this benevolent group of surfer dudes who just want to rob banks to pay for the big trip to Sydney.
All right.
And then Keanu Reeves is over here like coercing witnesses and
Breaking-
intimidating and
yeah.
breaking and entering and firing guns in public places and firing guns at moving weapons and firing guns at witnesses and firing guns at other police officers and firing guns at suspects as they flee while unarmed and firing guns at just shooting at everybody and
Right.
lying and breaking and stealing, and it's like, what a mess.
And you seeing that kind of translates. I mean, I know it's a movie,
He was
you know.
the hero in the movie.
I know it's just a
People were
movie.
like, yeah, and I think about all the Beverly Hills Cop. He's just like breaking and entering and firing guns at moving vehicles and firing guns in big crowded areas and firing guns at unarmed suspects as
Takes
they
a
flee.
person's car. Like, oh
And we're
man.
supposed to be like, yeah, get him, do whatever's necessary. The whole prospect of Batman, everybody knows at this point, is completely fucking problematic. Some rich guy is running around beating up criminals.
Because he has the
Who
money.
now we understand are a product of their economic disparity and the situation that they have no control over of. And he does have control. And instead of doing effective things and influencing his local policy regarding the poor, he's just going to beat people up indiscriminately and work with police. He's like the police's secret guy.
When
Police call him because like we need him to do the stuff we can't get away with.
yeah, when it accounts to what they need.
He can abuse people's civil rights and get away with it because he's not held accountable. And it's like, that's so fucking scary to be Batman worshipping at this point. We have to change all. I saw a really great Twitter feed. Maybe you saw this, where they're suggesting that Batman actually be like let's say Joe Chill, who kills his parents, is a cop, is a dirty cop, and so when he comes back from his travels, Bruce Wayne is like gets evidence that Joe Chill did it, and he goes, and Joe Chill is like the commissioner at this point, and he goes to them and he tries to be a billionaire and walk in the front door and be like, I have evidence that this guy killed my parents these years ago, and it all gets, and the cops cover for each other and they lie and they make it disappear and he can't do anything about it, and there's an obfuscation in public outcry about it. It's just swept under the rug. Just like Breonna Taylor, it just all gets shoved away.
And then he got to put into that scenario where is he going to take action or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
So then he starts
Batman.
going after Joe Chill and taking down dirty cops and using his secret identity to take down cops. And the reason he doesn't kill cops is because he knows the backlash will be disproportionate against people who are innocent. So he is very careful never to kill. That's why. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's more interesting.
But that I feel like that's what
Then you can break it sometimes.
that's where our law enforcement should get to that point, is where they can actually de-escalate a situation where it's not.
They're not ever going to be able to do that. I was in a squad car once.
Oh no!
When I was a little crusty.
Danger.
A bunch of times. I've been to prison. I've been to jail.
Whoa! James Bond villain for sure.
I was booked a bunch of times with my all long hair everywhere.
What? See, this is all weird to me.
I got booked. Me and my friend Alec, my drummer in my band, were like beating up some guy who was trying to assault our friend. We got a call from some friend of ours in the band who's like, some guy's chasing us, and so we left band practice and we were drunk.
Save the day.
And
Here
we
we
got in the truck
come.
and we went there and we just kicked the shit out of him and he ran away. But he called the cops, and the cops responded lightning fast for some reason, pulled us over. She told them what happened, and so they were going to let her go because she was a minor. And so Alec was going to take her back, so she was safe. And all these cops were everywhere, and they were like, "You guys are all so busted." And these female cops showed up, and they found out what happened. Like, "Can you get her home? Okay, get her out of here. You can't be just beating up guys. We're going to let your friend go home, but you got to come with us." And I was like, "Fuck." And so they put me in the squad car. But before I was in their squad car, I was passed around these other male cop squad cars, and they had fucking, like, a bunch of them had Batman screensavers on their little laptops. Like, when their laptops are on and they're not on them, like, it was like Dark Knight.
Yeah, right.
Posing with a Joker card. And it's like, they all fancy themselves these guys who can bend the rules to get the bad guy. They're all fucking sick in the head
have that mentality.
to begin with. I always used to say since I was in high school, I was like, it's like, if you even want to be a cop, there's already fucking something wrong with you. It should be like in Gladiator, when Marcus Aurelius is like, "You have to be the Emperor of Rome," and Marcus Aurelius and Russell Crowe's like, "With all of my heart, no." Yeah. And then he's like, "But don't you see? That's why it must be you." Like the people who are cops shouldn't like want to be cops.
Yeah,
you know,
there should be more.
They should be like drafted from firefighters.
Yeah,
like it's like the best of the firefighters. like when like you can volunteer for this like force and you get paid a bunch of extra money to put your life on the line, and those are the cops.
That makes sense too, because one of the
and then also have that public safety force that are unarmed, and have that be most of the police force is just unarmed mental health people who have resources
right
to help people. Cops just show up to fuck people up.
Right, they see a drunk guy and it's just like, hey, this is gonna be fun. Like that's not that mentality that they should be having. They should be like trying to be rehabilitative to this person that's kind of drunk or in this weird niche.
I'm gonna have to fly.
Danger, we've been here for an hour and 20 minutes. I appreciate you so much, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
Do you want to give out any plugs or anything where my where are we at? Where my 42 playbacks and my 5 consecutive viewers can follow you? Please let me know.
Let's take a picture before I play your little game.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. You guys are awesome. We're here, MuseMe TV, all the time. Make sure to turn on the notifications because I don't really have a schedule, but as long as it's the notifications,
this is what I want people to do.
Know when I'll go live. You'll know when I'll go live.
This is what I want people to do. I want them to follow me on Instagram. I'm Danger Varoz. Okay, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
Just follow me on Instagram. Fuck it.
All right,
I'm not doing shows. I don't got shit going on, man.
You heard it here, folks. Make sure to follow him on Instagram. You know what to do. Hit that follow. Also subscribe anywhere. MuseMe TV. I love you all.